Okay, can we try now? Let's see. Any sound? I think we have sound. Right, okay, so I had like this amazing introduction that I've just done, and it took me a good minute, and then you went, no sound. I was like, oh, great. Oh, fantastic. Okay, so, um, what I had been saying before I realized nobody had heard me. Oh, I thought what I'd do in this live stream is just showcase a tool that I've been creating to be able to map out the TSN Sandbox for the new version of Artemis 3, and actually give like a little bit of a sneak peek of what that looks like in game. Now, I have had the chance to meet with Thom and a few other people over the past few weeks, which has been cool, and I've been able to see some of the development of Artemis 3, which I think the working title is Artemis Cosmos at the moment. The version I've got that Thom kindly sent across so I could help with testing it and kind of get a head start on working on the TSN Sandbox and seeing if I could break it, which the last time we were on was on Wednesday evening, and we were sat there talking away, a group of us, and I just went, "Oh, sorry, Thom, I've just broken the game." um, Something like on the client screen, everything just disappeared, but on the server screen, we still had all the asteroids and all the nebula and everything. So I don't know what happened, and Thom was looking into it. So I've got a very pre-alpha, a pre-release version of Artemis. It's very much still in development. Thom said I could show a couple of bits on there. I said, would I be all right to live stream? So he's okayed this as long as it's very clear that the game that I've got at the moment isn't a game. Basically, it's kind of still developing it, but he's got some cool features in there, and he's got some plans. I think he was working on, what was he working on next? Docking was the next one, and energy management I think were the next ones that we're working on. He got the ships in, he got the space in, he had targeting and firing. He just added torpedoes, he had explosions, so he was kind of working up bit by bit, adding features in as he went along, and fixing bugs and things that other people kept breaking from, like me. So I thought what I'd do is show the system designer tool that I've got. The reason why I've had to create the system designer tool is because at the moment the TSN Sandbox is written in XML file language, and it's like a huge file. And I use the Artemis mission editor for that. Now, the Artemis mission editor would quite nicely write out all the XML in really easy readable language, and you could go into a map tool as well and be able to lay out asteroids and nebula and stations and everything. With the new Artemis, it uses Python as the language for the scripting, which is far more powerful than XML, but obviously it's brand new and we don't have any tools to be able to create stuff for it yet, just writing raw code. Which over the past year I've kind of been practicing Python because I knew that that would be coming up. So I've got my head around Python a little bit, but there's no kind of visual editor. So I've created a visual editor. I thought I'd show that off, and I thought I'd also show off what it looked like in game. So you can see up at the moment I've got the stellar cartography maps created. Maintained by Captain Vaj. He keeps the code up to date and he keeps the maps up to date. I think he created them originally as well, actually. If I'm wrong, somebody do tell me. But this is the maps that he created. So if I'm just getting used to using the browser. I've chosen it from the upper arc. Where have you gone? There we go. I've chosen the Promethean system to focus on. Now, the coordinates in Artemis are infinite in all directions, in X, Y, and Z directions. So I was a bit like, well, I need a 0, 0 point, and I thought Promethean, the home system of the 4th Light Division, would be a good system to start with. So that's why Promethean system is open. And obviously we're going to get Promethean command as 00. So I'm going to start looking at creating this sector here. All right. So in the tool that I've made, and I've just added some new features this evening to it, actually in the past like 10 minutes, I should be able to start laying out these nebulas and a couple of these stations. Mines aren't currently in the game. Weapons platforms aren't in the game. Neither are shipyards. There's just one station type because obviously the code is in the game to be able to add those things, but the game obviously isn't finished. So if I go over to my designer tool, this is my actual system designer tool. It allows me to lay down terrain in different areas. So I've created this in Python. This box here represents 00, and I've also got a red cross that you can see right dead center there. So that represents that central point. Oh, just a moment. I've not transitioned over. Transition. There you go. System designer tool. All right. And I'm assuming you can still hear me as well. If you can still hear me, say hi. I do have 2 people viewing. Neither of them are saying hi. There we go. Yay. And another one. Excellent. 3 people. All right. So this is my system designer tool. The red box here represents 10,000 square, which is the equivalent to, if I go back to the maps, it's equivalent to grid alpha 1. All right, so that red box is equivalent to grid alpha 1, so that's the same size as alpha 1. Obviously I want Promethean to be dead center, so I'm going to put a station down there dead center. This program, by the way, isn't finished. There'll be bits added to it. It's very basic, but it allows me to do what I need to do. So I'm going to add an object in. I'm going to add a station. I'm going to call it Promethean command. You'll see why it's not finished. Watch command. There we go. Keep the Y value as 0, and I can just right click, and Promethean command is dead center. So we've got Promethean command base. Now in the TSN Sandbox, if I save this data, Promethean command will appear where I want it to. So what else was on my map? Let's just switch back to my map. So that Promethean command, that's going to be 0.000, and then if I go about 10,000 away, I've got my first nebula. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to zoom out. Let's go back to my system designer. Okay, so this is how I'm going to be designing maps for the TSN Sandbox. If I can actually get it moving a bit quicker. It's a bit of a pain because I've got whispers on in the background as well. Let me just change that. Alright, go back here. So I want the nebula to be up here. So I'm going to swap 2 objects. Nope, sorry, terrains. I want a nebula. And what I can do, there's only one type of nebula currently in. But I want a line of nebula here. And I can specify the X and Y minimum and maximum values. So let's drop it down to a minus, let's make it minus 500. And then plus 500. Density of the nebula, let's make it 20 for now. And then scatter of the nebula is how wide it'll go. So let's make it 1,000 wide. So that's like 1,000 tall by 1,000 wide, if you imagine a 3D box. And then I can like generate the field. And I want a few more. So if I generate a few more, and that should create that nebula. These circle sizes aren't perfect at the minute. You can see how small the station appears and how small the nebula appear. They're actually a little bit bigger than that. Right. So that's that one. Let's go back to my map, have a look. So this is how I'm going to kind of be creating the new sandbox. So you can see I've got Bravo 3's blank, but I've got Charlie 1 and Charlie 2. I've got those there. What I wanted to do is try and put a grid in the background of my actual map, but I've not been able to get it doing what I want it to do yet. So I've kind of left that. So if I go back here and shift it across, so that would be about grid Bravo 2, and then I've got a nebula about here. Let's keep those parameters, generate, and then let's go like that. Generate. Then I've got, so I'm just gonna quickly map it out like this. If that's that. So about here. And we'll quickly map it out like this so that I can move on to actually showing it in game. And there was an asteroid field that came through here. So now I've got a couple of features. It's actually quite good. There are 3 types of asteroid in the version I've got. Whilst we were talking, Tom added another. I think in total at the moment there are 11 different types of asteroid. So asteroid 1 and 2 have a particular colour about them. Asteroid 3 is just your bog standard asteroid, I believe. So I'm going to add in asteroid 3. Put a couple of those in there. And go that way as well. Extend it out a bit and extend it up a bit here. So that is more or less sector. Is it sector 7? Yep, sector 7. So that now kind of matches that sector 7. So you can see somebody who wrote the mission editor obviously knows a lot more about computers and can do a much better job than I can. But I'm quite happy with the way that the program's come along. And then that's my sector 7. The cool thing is with this, I can zoom all the way out so you can see the scale's getting smaller and smaller. I also want to add one more thing in. So Tom added a different new feature as well called nav points. So actually I'm going to drop in a nav point and the display is a different color. So if we go back to my objects, go to nav point and I call it Promethean. And I'm just going to drop it there, I think. There we go. So I've got Promethean nav point, I've got Promethean command there. So that nav point, it's a different kind of feature. And then what I can do is I can save that data and that will go into the game. And obviously, as I work on it, I'll be able to build out the rest of Promethean system around this area. I'm still kind of gauging distances and things with the TSN Sandbox. So that's that part. Now, for the bit that I know that you, if you're still watching, if you're actually excited about, if I go to Artemis 3, and oh, I've already got it loaded actually. Here we go, and swap. Now, what about now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Yes. So I did again. Once again, I did all that talking and things, and you didn't hear any of it. So great. One awesome live stream that nobody heard. Where's the game? Where's the game? So I did explain what the little check marks were. I did talk about the asteroids, and I talked about loads of stuff. I'll probably do another live stream, a better one. I actually know what I'm doing. I love that. I love the temporarily like fluffy cloud symbol. This is very pre-alpha, but well, this is very alpha, by the way. It's not. It's not in a playable game state yet. I was saying that this green is a nav point to avoid millions of nav points appearing. I'm going to have it so that when ships are further away, the nav points will disappear. Let's see. So, well, at least you got to see some pretty graphics. So there's Promethean. That's the nav point for Promethean. And if I go up, there's a little mark appears on that. So those marks indicate how far below you it is. So like one chevron is it's below you, two chevrons is it's really below you, three chevrons is it's really, really below you. I did talk about, I did make a request that maybe it could be in like a toggle where we could have it as a number as well, for more experienced Helms officers, and Tom was open to that, which was nice. That was pretty cool diving through the clouds there. All right. I'm going to finish that up there, and I'll try and do another live stream where I actually broadcast my sound instead of just sitting and talking to myself for goodness knows how long. But I hope it's been nice to look at. Like I say, this is an alpha version of the game. It's not a playable game. Tom's still very much working on Artemis 3. Working titles Artemis Cosmos. And I'm still very much working on the TSN Sandbox. Working title, TSN Sandbox. Let's go have a look at these. Yeah, here's some asteroids. There's 3 different types of asteroids. These are like a brown one. On the, I don't know if it came across in the sound. It will have done actually. That during that evening that we actually were sat chatting, Tom added another load of asteroids. So there's like 11 different types of asteroids. So this nice uniform field will become a bit more interesting. And I was saying as well, this bit you won't have heard, that they look quite cool to fly through. There's the like push radius on them's not set properly yet, so you can kind of fly through an asteroid. If I go for that, you can almost fly through them. I think. Let's try that one. Oh, there's a little bit of a push radius, so you can fly through asteroids. But you can see here as well, they do look pretty cool. Swing around. The asteroid fields themselves, I think, look really cool in Artemis 3. Just because the way that the positioned 3D. Everything seems to be so much bigger and more spacious in Artemis 3 as well. So I need to kind of get to grips with that in terms of designing the systems. I'll probably end up going back and adding more in, try to figure out how many to do. And my my like map editor is not perfect, because if I had 1,000 asteroids in a small space, it looked really cool on game. in game, but actually in my map editor, I won't be able to tell that there's 1,000 asteroids there. So I'm kind of working on that. But it does look pretty cool like this so far, I must admit. And this is just like on the server screen. So you can see like flying through nebula. We've got, I think these are like stand-ins for now because they're not complete systems, but you can see the coordinates changing as we're going through, which is going to be a new interesting challenge for us as a TSN group. But yeah. All right. I'm going to end it there. Again, like I say, thank you very much for watching. And thank you for rewatching if you're watching it after the fact. See you next time.